Wakil Presiden Republik Indonesia periode 2009-2014.
Para hadirin yang saya muliakan, barangkali tidak perlu saya sebut satu persatu, semuanya saya muliakan sekali. Dan kalau saya sebut, sebagian pasti tidak tersebut. Kecuali satu, saya ingin dengan izin para hadirin untuk menyapa Ibu Kian yang hadir hari ini dan putra. Ibu, kami sahabat Pak T, merasa bahagia tiap kali kita mengenang apa yang beliau telah lakukan baik di bidang akademi maupun lebih luas lagi di bidang pembangunan bangsa kita ini. Kami semua selalu mengenang beliau dengan baik sekali. Para hadirin sekalian yang saya muliakan, saya kira kalau disebut sebagai Keynote Speech yang terlalu besar ini, saya kira sambutan saja. Nanti esensi dari challenge Indonesia ke depan ini barangkali lebih baik kita dengarkan dari para ahlinya ini. Mereka telah menulis buku, sebagian dari penulisnya mereka ini yang akan nanti barangkali akan diluncurkan juga saya dengar untuk Pak Pagi. Ini buku yang very timely, buku yang tepat waktu ini. Ada semacam evaluasi 5 tahun terakhir, 5,5 tahun terakhir, lalu melihat ke depan apa-apa yang perlu dilakukan. Jadi persis dengan topik ini, jadi kalau ada yang ingin bertanya, saya persilakan tanya sama para ahlinya. Saya ini pensiunan, jadi akan bicara nanti sedikit, bukan substansi detail, tetapi secara umum mengenai tantangan kita ke depan ini. Tapi sebelum itu saya ingin mengenang kembali Pak T. Ini adalah yang kedua kalinya saya diundang oleh LIPI. Terima kasih LIPI undang saya lagi, juga dalam forum Widya Lecture Series yang pertama. Jadi kali ini saya dengan bahagia menyambut undangan ini dan ikut bersama-sama para hadirin sekalian mengenang apa yang telah dicapai, dilaksanakan dan diberikan Pak T kepada kita semua ini. Tadi disebutkan oleh Bu Sri Sunarti kepribadian Pak T dan sebagainya, saya tidak perlu mengulang lagi, tapi memang kesan utama saya adalah beliau itu sangat sederhana, modest, tapi kalau sudah bicara, saya tahu, kita tahu bahwa dia tahu apa yang dia katakan. Pandangannya selalu mendalam dan dia adalah konversasi yang baik sekali. Setiap kali saya ngomong itu lanjut kemana-mana. Jadi pengetahuannya itu sambung menyambung antara satu aspek dengan aspek yang lain dan sangat menyenangkan. Saya kira itu yang saya alami, dan selain kepribadian yang begitu baik, begitu modest dan rendah hati, saya juga merasa terpengaruh, kena pengaruh beliau dalam hal memandang persoalan ekonomi kita ini dalam konteks, dalam perspektif sejarah. Ceritanya begini, kalau saya bisa sampaikan pada para hadirin. Saya tahun 1992 itu ditugasi oleh Fakultas Ekonomi UGM untuk mengajar perekonomian Indonesia untuk undergraduate. Waktu itu saya sudah di Jakarta, sama di Bank Indonesia, kemudian di Bappenas, kembali. Biasanya saya datang di Jogja itu hari Sabtu saja, nggak bisa hari yang lain. Dan di situ saya tentu baca banyak sumber-sumber untuk saya jadikan bahan, termasuk tentu dalam pengalaman praktek yang saya telah dapat sampai waktu itu mengenai kebijakan pembangunan ekonomi di tanah air ini. Jadi ada teorinya, ada sedikit, tapi ditambah juga dengan pengalaman-pengalaman sedikit. Tapi yang cukup banyak adalah tentu saya mendapatkan bahan dari tulisan para ahli-ahlinya ini. Profesor Arianto misalnya, itu bukunya bagus sekali, saya pakai. Profesor Booth, bukunya juga saya pakai. Jadi saya teks sana teks sini, itu tidak terlalu residen, tapi itulah yang bisa saya lakukan untuk mahasiswa saya pada waktu itu. Nah, pertama-tama saya punya approach yang sedikit, kalau bisa dikatakan sektoral, ya. Industri Indonesia itu bagaimana, keuangan bagaimana, pertanian bagaimana, satu persatu saya ceritakan. Itu adalah approach saya pada awalnya. Setelah beberapa waktu itu saya jumpai, ternyata ini mahasiswa saya ini tidak mempunyai pandangan yang utuh, potong-sepotong dan nggak bisa nyambung satu sama lain. Jadi saya pikir apa approach-nya pendidikan. Saya baca buku yang Pate, ada beberapa juga hasil penelitian dan buku dari rekan-rekan dari ENU, dari Australia, tidak hanya dari ENU, dari Belanda. Waktu itu juga saya lihat bahwa approach sejarah ini kayaknya lebih cocok, karena ini memberikan semacam naratif bahwa apa yang terjadi dari waktu ke waktu beruntut dengan urutan waktu yang menunjukkan mana yang lebih dulu sebagai sebabnya, mana yang lebih dulu sebagai akibatnya. Dan lebih dari itu, cerita seperti ini biasanya tidak hanya soal hitung-hitungan angka seperti ekonomi, hitung balance of payment, defisit berapa ini, tapi termasuk di dalamnya adalah cerita mengenai sisi lain, non-ekonomi, apa politik, apakah sosial, dan lain-lain. Jadi merupakan suatu narasi yang utuh. Dari situ saya mikir mungkin perlu saya mulai tahun 19, ya mungkin 5 tahunan setelah itu, saya mencoba mengubah silabus saya dengan approach sejarah. Dan terus terang saya banyak dipengaruhi oleh tulisannya Pate. Jadi pengaruh Pate pada saya itu ada, sangat nyata pada waktu itu. Harapan saya mahasiswa itu bisa melihat secara utuh narasi perkembangan ekonomi Indonesia ini dari waktu ke waktu, masalahnya apa, bagaimana mengatasinya, lalu siapa-siapa, kelompok mana yang mengatasi, mana yang sukses, mana yang gagal. Urutannya itu lebih jelas. Harapan saya pada waktu itu memang mahasiswa saya yang graduate itu bisa mempunyai gambaran besarnya dulu. Nah, kalau mau mendalami di dalam masing-masing sektor, silakan. Tapi untuk hanya waktu itu 1 semester, waktu itu 1 semester, ya 1 semester itu lebih baik gambaran besarnya. Itu yang saya pikir pada waktu itu. Jadi saya melakukan approach ini setelah pertengahan 1992 di Fakultas Ekonomi UGM, mata kuliah perekonomian Indonesia. Nah, saya hanya bisa melakukan itu barangkali sampai awal 2000, tahun 2001, 2002. Generasi ini untung saya mendapatkan apa itu pembantu saya untuk mengajar, namanya juga asisten, tapi saya kira lebih tinggi dari itu karena asisten yang ini sangat mumpuni, mereka sudah bisa kita lepas. Sebab itu saya serahkan sebagian tugas ini lama-lama kepada mereka. Antara lain yang pernah menjadi bantu saya waktu itu adalah almarhum Pak Tony Prasyanto, Pak Arianto bertanya, kemudian itu ada yang terakhir ini Denny Purbasari di KSP kantor mana daerah kantor staf presiden terakhir itu. Setelah itu saya lepas karena tidak mungkin lagi presiden. Tiap Sabtu pun agak sulit. Ya itulah tugas yang harus kita lakukan, saya lakukan di Jakarta. Jadi proses sejarah ini menurut saya sangat bagus. Bagus untuk membentuk sikap menurut saya. Sikap yang menghargai perspektif waktu, sikap yang menghargai interaksi antara elemen unsur-unsur ekonomi, non-ekonomi, dan lain-lain. Dan menurut saya sikap untuk belajar apa yang masa lalu itu bisa kita pelajari untuk menghadapi masa sekarang. Ini sangat penting. Sikap untuk belajar itu. Kadang-kala kita mempunyai ekonom yang pintar sekali, bisa menghitung sana macam-macam dengan teori yang up to date. Tapi kalau ekonomi ini tidak mempunyai perspektif waktu, perspektif sejarah, maka dia akan kehilangan manfaat yang cukup besar untuk memecahkan masalah yang ada dihadapi pada saat itu. Belajar dari masa lampau ini saya kira harus kita tanamkan pada sikap pada anak-anak kita, para mahasiswa, para peneliti. Ini penting sekali karena dengan bisa melihat pengalaman masa lalu dan menarik pelajarannya untuk kita pakai menghadapi masalah sekarang, itu kita menjadi makin cerdas. Jadi itu sebenarnya adalah yang membuat robot-robot ini makin pintar. Ini ada proses algoritma artificial intelligence. Masa lampau satu putaran dilihat mana yang baik, mana tidak, itulah kemudian dijadikan pengalaman untuk keputusan putaran berikutnya. Algoritma melihat pengalaman masa lampau untuk memecahkan masa yang mendatang. Sikap seperti ini kadang-kadang hilang di antara para pendidik kita. Jadi kalau kita benar-benar ingin mereka menjadi ekonom, kalau tidak saya ekonom tentu di bidang lain, yang lain itu yang berguna bagi pemecahan problem masyarakat, maka tentu lebih baik mereka juga mempunyai sikap yang menghargai perspektif sejarah, dalam arti mereka cukup rendah hati untuk melihat, membaca pengalaman masa lampau dan menarik pelajaran untuk bagi dia untuk bekal memecahkan masalah. Tapi kadang-kala males, dan ini adalah kelemahan besar bagi human race nanti dibanding dengan robot yang algoritmenya itu luar biasa nanti. Makin cepat, makin banyak informasi yang dikumpulkan, makin cerdas, makin lebih pandai dari kita. Dan mereka selalu, robot ini diprogram untuk menggunakan logika, biologi, bukan perasaan. Kalau kita biasanya malah banyak perasaannya, sehingga kadang-kala suatu pelajaran masa lalu yang bagus. Akhirnya kita tolak karena ini yang melaksanakan dulu musuh saya atau apa, kita nggak suka sama dia. Jadi yang non logik ini masuk. Nah, hal seperti ini membuat nanti ada yang memprediksi akhirnya ya robot ini makin pintar dari kita. Nanti mungkin nggak perlu lagi ekonom, tapi robot yang diprogram untuk memecahkan masalah ekonomi dengan algoritma yang sangat lengkap, masukkan semua data masa lampau dan akhirnya memutuskan lebih baik dari kita. Ini ya ya moga-moga karena manusia ini tetap harus menguasai keadaan, tidak dikuasai oleh yang dia ciptakan. Hadirin sekalian, itu sedikit refleksi mengenai Pakti dan terus sejarah yang barangkali sangat perlu kita pikirkan. Sayangnya tidak banyak yang mengikuti jejak Pakti. Secara ekonomi ini tidak seksi, nggak menarik. Kayaknya lebih menarik yang macam-macam yang dengan komputer dan sebagainya. Tapi ini membentuk sikap ini saya kira kadang-kadang kita lupakan mendidik anak-anak kita. Oke, mudah-mudahan nanti akan ada lagi yang mengikuti sejak Pak Kian menjadi ekonomi historian, terutama untuk negara kita yang handal, yang bisa menyebarkan perspektif yang benar apa yang kita perlu lakukan ke depan atas dasar apa yang kita alami. Jadi sekalian, saya singkat saja mengenai sedikit substansi kaitannya dengan ini. Tidak detail, saya menyampaikan kepada rekan-rekan saya di LIPI dan para hadirin yang berkenan. Itu apa yang saya lakukan setelah pensiun ini. Saya banyak waktu untuk baca. Jadi baca pengalaman berbagai negara dan sebagainya. Salah satu yang saya tanyakan pada diri saya, adakah contoh sukses story dari pembangunan di negara-negara yang dekat dengan kita dan tidak dalam masa lampau ya, 200 tahun yang lama, tapi yang masa-masa abad 20, awal 21 ini. Setelah lihat-lihat memang ada, contohnya ada. Dan ini bacaan dari saya yang sebenarnya awam dari secara ekonomi, tapi sebagai orang awam saya sampai pada kesimpulan ada, dan itu adalah negara-negara Asia Timur. Itu yang saya jumpai, lalu kemudian saya menanyakan apa rahasianya. Ternyata setelah saya lihat, sekali lagi sebagai orang awam, mendalami secara berbeda, tapi intinya I've come to conclusion bahwa ada 3 hal yang mereka jadikan fokus dalam membangun ekonomi mereka. Dan mereka fokus ini adalah pada 3 hal. Satu adalah pendidikan. Hampir semua yang saya maksud di Asia Timur itu Jepang yang paling awal, kemudian Korea, Taiwan, Singapura, Hong Kong boleh juga, tapi akhir-akhir 20 tahun terakhir ini Tiongkok, dan lebih akhir lagi barangkali negatif Vietnam. Nah, ini negara-negara yang ada pelajarannya yang barangkali bisa kita ambil, barangkali tidak, itu tergantung judgment kita ya. Tapi ada 3 hal tadi. Pendidikan yang pertama itu mereka sangat memberikan prioritas. Yang kedua adalah birokrasi. Birokrasinya memang sudah sangat modern awalnya, tapi jalan. Apa yang diputuskan di tingkat policy itu sampai ke implementasi, dan sistemnya memang masih barangkali top down dan sebagainya. Tapi no matter, penting kan jalan. Kalau tidak jalan nggak ada gunanya birokrasi. Yang ketiga adalah infrastruktur, dan itu saya kira cukup menyolok ini, apalagi kalau melihat pembangunan infrastruktur di Tiongkok ini luar biasa, bahkan orang mengatakan ini berlebihan yang diperlukan pada saat-saat itu waste, money dan sebagainya, itu bisa dilibatkan. Tapi juga pembangunan Jepang, infrastruktur yang sangat mendasar ini dibangun. Nah, tiga hal ini sebenarnya bukan hal yang baru kalau kita sudah mengenal literatur pembangunan. Dan literatur pembangunan itu ada tiga hal yang memang selalu menonjol menjadi sukses factor pembangunan. Satu adalah kualitas dari human resources, dari manusianya, quality of human resources. Yang kedua adalah quality of institution, bukan hanya birokrasi tapi birokrasi, terutama public institution. Yang ketiga adalah memang infrastruktur. Ini semua ternyata bukan hal yang baru, tapi yang baru yang menonjol dari pengalaman negara-negara Asia Timur ini adalah bahwa mereka itu melakukan ini secara serius, berkesinambungan, dan benar-benar akhirnya mencapai sesuatu yang cukup bermakna bagi pembangunan mereka. Inilah jadi yang membedakan adalah resolve-nya sampai kepada implementasi yang menghasilkan, dan menjadi landasan bagi pembangunan ekonomi, pertumbuhan ekonomi mereka dalam waktu 4 tahun. Mereka tidak fokus saja hanya menaikkan growth, pertumbuhan tahun ini, tahun depan dengan mudah-mudah konsumsinya dinaikkan bagaimana. Mereka pun tidak hanya melihat potensi membangun ke depan dalam jangka panjang, itu hanya dengan melihat investasi fisik, banyak moneter dan sebagainya. Tidak hanya itu, mereka melihat kepada hal-hal yang lebih fundamental lagi, kualitas sumber daya manusia kita pendidikan. Tapi sebenarnya kalau hanya pendidikan itu terjadi dengan kesehatan satu paket. Tapi mereka fokus pendidikan dan birokrasi. Ini penting juga. Dan infrastruktur. Nah, ini semua sebenarnya telah sine qua non dari pembangunan suatu bangsa, any country. Nah, di atas itu kita bisa mempunyai pilihan-pilihan policy, sectoral policy, misalnya saja industrial policy, financial policy, trade policy. Itu sebenarnya adalah lebih di permukaan dibanding yang sangat mendasar, tiga hal tadi. Kalau tiga hal tadi tidak sukses, apapun yang kita pilih pada tingkat sektoral ini hasilnya hanya itu juga, tidak akan berhasil. Ini adalah fundament bagi pembangunan suatu bangsa, ekonomi suatu bangsa. Dan saya pribadi punya pandangan setelah melihat pengalaman mereka. Ketiga hal ini memang pertama sifatnya jangka panjang. Tidak bisa itu kita selesaikan hanya 1-2 tahun kemudian dibiarkan kosong dan ditambah lagi tahun berikutnya. Tidak cukup 5 tahunan bahkan. Ini memerlukan waktu yang jauh lebih panjang dari itu. Contoh, kalau kita benar-benar ingin meningkatkan kualitas sumber daya manusia suatu negara, itu tidak cukup 5 tahun, satu generasi. Dan yang paling, kalau mau yang sangat mendasar bagaimana meningkatkan kualitas manusia, itu adalah mulai dari bayi. You start with the new generation. Dipupuk, dibimbing menjadi manusia yang lebih berkualitas dari generasi sebelumnya. Ini seperti aliran sungai. Kalau apa itu bangsa itu ada yang sudah ada mengalir di tengah-tengah sungai, sudah mengalir menuju ke muara ya. Ada yang baru keluar dari sumber. Ini adalah generasi baru yang akan mengganti generasi lama. Suatu saat akan diganti semua. Tinggal kita bagaimana menyiapkan generasi baru ini supaya bisa lebih baik. Kadang-kadang suatu generasi ini sangat sibuk untuk dirinya sendiri, busy with themselves, lupa salah satu tugas dan tanggung jawab sejarahnya, membangun generasi yang mendatang yang lebih baik dari kita, dari yang sekarang. Dan ini suatu tanggung jawab besar. Kadang-kadang kita lupakan karena fokus kita adalah pada diri kita sendiri, dalam arti generasi kita. Nah, ini yang memang perlu kita pikirkan bagaimana ini. Kalau dikeluarkan ya kepada anak kita mengharapkan demikian. Tapi harus lebih dari itu. Sebagai bangsa kita harus memikirkan bagaimana generasi yang baru keluar dari sumber mata air tadi kita kelola, jangan sampai stunting pada umur-umur yang kritis, jangan sampai stunting bukan hanya secara fisik, tapi secara mental dan lain-lain. Ini saya kira pemikiran yang perlu kita pikirkan bersama, apalagi kita bicara di sini di LIPI, saya kira banyak memikir di sini yang akan bisa melanjutkan konsep seperti ini. Nah, yang pertama jangka panjang, yang kedua ini memang akhirnya memerlukan sesuatu prasyarat untuk bisa melaksanakan ini dengan baik. Karena jangka panjang ini harus dengan rencana. Nggak mungkin dari tahun ke tahun kita mau berubah-ubah siksa. Bagaimana membangun human resource kita, ganti menteri misalnya lalu ganti prioritas, itu nggak boleh. Bahkan ganti presiden pun harusnya itu ada landasan yang nyambung, kan ini satu generasi. Nah, ini yang saya kira tergantung pada kemauan kita semuanya, tetapi akhirnya juga tergantung pada sistem ekonomi politik kita. Barangkali kita sekarang sudah memutuskan ada sistem kita setelah reformasi ya seperti ini, siklus 5 tahunan, kalau beruntung siklusnya kalau 2 kali masa presiden, jadi siklus 10 tahunan itu lebih baik. Tapi yang penting di dalam setiap 5 tahun ataupun 10 tahun itu harus ada suatu plan yang bagus, yang benar-benar dilaksanakan. Nah, kita punya FKP dan sebagainya. Tapi nampaknya belum berfungsi seperti yang kita bayangkan. Dan memang negara-negara Asia Timur pada awalnya mereka tidak sedemokratis kita. Kita harus bangga kita demokratis, tapi kita juga memikirkan dengan demokrasi yang ada sekarang ini, bagaimana kita bisa merencanakan, melaksanakan policy yang berjangka panjang, yang sangat mutlak diperlukan untuk hal-hal yang sangat mendasar tadi. 3 hal tadi. Birokrasi misalnya, kembali ke birokrasi. Reformasi birokrasi ini panjang kalau melihat pengalaman negara-negara sekitar Singapura, negara kecil tapi sukses sekali. Itu bisa 15-25 tahun baru kelihatan tertata semuanya. Nah, hal seperti ini juga memerlukan plan jangka panjang, jangan terputus-putus. Nah, ini challenge kita untuk kita pikirkan bersama. Infrastruktur juga demikian sebenarnya. Bisa kita bangun infrastruktur sana sini ya, tapi harusnya nanti infrastruktur ini harus membentuk suatu sistem infrastruktur yang mempunyai dampak ganda terhadap efisiensi, produktivitas, transaksi cost dan lain-lain. Tidak hanya yang kita sebut infrastruktur, pembangunan infrastruktur itu bukan hanya kumpul koleksi dari pembangunan sepotong-sepotong dari sana sini. Ini juga harus kita pikirkan apa yang perlu nanti ke depan. Kita banyak melakukan di bidang 3 bidang ini, setelah banyak melakukan. Tapi barangkali ke depan masih bisa kita tingkatkan lagi efektivitasnya. Saya stop di situ untuk pemikiran kita semua. Bagaimana negara kita yang sangat kita cintai ini bisa sukses ke depan. Sangat ketinggalan kereta negara-negara lain majunya juga cepat. Dan kemarin saya di Kementerian Keuangan ada tema mengenai apa itu penduduk Indonesia yang menua menjadi tua 10-15 tahun ke depan. Jadi artinya jumlah orang tua lebih banyak dari anak muda yang produktif, banyak pensiunan seperti saya, pensiunan yang produktif seperti Pak Wakil sekarang ini makin sedikit semua. Nah ini akhirnya menimbulkan dampak yang menarik ke bawah pembangunan. Apa yang perlu dilakukan selama 10-15 tahun lagi? Ini lagi contoh di mana kita bisa menyiapkan hal-hal seperti ini, menghadapinya yang akan timbul di hadapan kita 10-15 tahun ke depan. Demikian sedikit sambutan saya. Selamat mendengarkan dan belajar dari para ahlinya mengenai topik ini. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Bapak Profesor Dr. Boediono, Wakil Presiden Republik Indonesia periode 2009-2014. Hadirin, berikut ini adalah sambutan dari Bapak Lester Cox, Wakil Duta Besar Australia untuk Indonesia. Kepada Bapak Cox, kami silakan.
Profesor Dr. Boediono, mantan Wakil Presiden Republik Indonesia yang saya hormati, Ibu Cho sama Marcel, keluarga Bapak Profesor Dr. Kian, Dr. Sri Sunati Purwananingsi, mewakili LIPI hari ini, Dr. Arianto Patunru dari Indonesia Project di Australian National University di Canberra, sama Profesor Dr. Hal Hill, Professor Emeritus dari Australian National University, Dr. Anne Booth dari London, Dr. Sriage Dharma Negara, dan semua teman-teman dari LIPI yang hadiran yang saya hormati. Selamat siang. Terima kasih. Pertama-tama terima kasih atas undangan yang disampaikan kepada saya kepada Kedutaan Australia, pemerintah Australia untuk hadir pada acara pada hari ini, ya, acara yang penting ini, lecture yang keempat Kian. Saya sangat dihormati hadir di sini pada hari ini karena Pak T ialah seorang yang sangat dekat dengan Australia, khususnya dengan Australian National University, dan kami sangat ada perasaan yang sangat gembira atas kesempatan untuk merayakan kehidupan beliau dengan lecture series yang ini. Saya diminta untuk buat beberapa alasan saya berdiri di sini hari ini. Pertama, saya membuat sedikit refleksi mengenai Bapak T, dan juga saya barangkali buat beberapa refleksi mengenai pidato Bapak mantan Wakil Presiden. Juga barangkali ada beberapa yang saya akan bicarakan mengenai buku yang baru dicetak oleh Bapak Hal sama Bapak sebagai Lama Negara. Pertamanya mengenai Bapak Kian, dan barangkali saya minta maaf, tetapi saya barangkali melanjutkan pidato saya dalam bahasa Inggris. Bapak T, I think, as I said, a very great friend of Australia. As you all know, he came to Australia a bit later in his life, but once he first came down to Australia and was working, I think, with Professor Heinz Arndt and in the earlier days of the Indonesia project, which is a project which the government of Australia through the Department of Foreign Affairs, also the Department of Foreign Affairs has supported since 1980. T became a very, very close friend of many of the people here today, like Professor Hal Hill and others. And I know that he called Australia, Canberra, his second home. And I think we regarded him too as, while he was a very deeply committed Indonesian citizen, we also regarded him as an honorary Australian citizen. And he's somebody who we love very dearly and who made a tremendous contribution to linkages of scholarship between Australia and Indonesia in the field of economics and economic history. And that's something we value very, very highly today still. I think one of the things that we learn most from all of his life and work is the importance of history in economics. When I first came to study economics myself, both at high school but then mainly at university, it was really through history. And I think a very strong understanding of economics comes through a deep interest in history. If you want to understand why history evolves the way it does, looking at the nature of the economic interests, the way that the economy evolves and develops is a very strong guide to historical development. And I think the two go deeply hand in hand. While one is seen as a social science, and one is a matter of often seen as in the arts faculty, the reality is the two are intricately linked. And I think that is something that came through very deeply in Kian Wee's scholarship, his study of the links from the colonial economy through to the modern Indonesian economy, the economy of the initial independence period and through to the New Order and the post-New Order. And I think that deep understanding of the drivers of history was quite critical. And so I think he leads through that study of history, and then the way he looked at the role of the state, the role of the newly industrialised economies, and Professor Dr. Boediono spoke of many of the East Asian economies, the newly industrialised economies that Kian studied in great detail to look for lessons and learnings about their implication for other East Asian economies. I think again we can see the deep focus on the history and on the nature of the context in which the economic development occurred according to historical and political context. So I think that depth of scholarship, which a number of you have written about, and Hal's written about the scholarship of Kian very deeply and looked at his work and life very closely, I think we can see that importance of history, and I encourage you all not to divorce economics from history, and to remember that economics is not just an abstract science of models and numbers, but it links very strongly to the real historical and political context of its times. So I think that's a key legacy I'd like to highlight of Kian Wei's work today. And that then leads on to some modern reflections, including to reflect very positively on the reflections of Professor Boediono on the importance of key learnings, particularly in education, the bureaucracy or institutions of government, institutions of society, and also infrastructure in the widest sense of the word. I agree with Dr. Boediono that these are critical aspects for Indonesia going forward as it is now a middle-income country and pushing forward towards the upper middle income. These challenges are particularly the most important ones, and I think T's work also brought out the importance of these factors that Dr. Boediono has highlighted in his speech. Indonesia today, looking at the history and looking at Indonesia in 2019, we can already see that since the end of the new order, much has been achieved. There have been many challenges, but much has been achieved, including under the time that Dr. Boediono was Vice President of Indonesia, particularly since Indonesia now has become, in institutional sense, a highly decentralised country. As you know, there are about 550 kabupaten and wali kota in Indonesia. And it's now those units of government where so many of the critical developments are taking place in service delivery, in local infrastructure, in health, in education. And the success of Indonesia in many of the areas that Dr. Boediono highlighted will come through the success of working at that level. And that's very complex, that's very challenging. And the challenge of central government in Indonesia is to successfully set the frameworks, to provide the leadership, and to link through the provinces to the kabupaten leadership, and encourage and stimulate good leadership and good models at the working level. A lot of this isn't grand, often, you know, as Professor Boyd, it's not always sexy stuff, but it's fundamental. And the success of Indonesia and many of the successes that I'm beginning to see as I travel around Indonesia are in the kabupaten and the wali kota, the cities and the district level governments, where the local parliament, the DPRD, the Bupati are beginning to work together to deliver better services for people, and that is creating the demand for better government, the demand for better political leadership. And it's not everywhere, but it's in some places. And where it is happening, it's very positive and it's working. That's something that then I think I was asked to say something about where the Australian government could good work. And I think a lot of what we are now doing through our Kemitraan Pembangunan dengan Indonesia is in working to create ideas of local models, looking at piloting ideas, be they in education delivery, basic education or primary education delivery, be they in areas of social services, including through Pembangunan, which was established by Dr. Boediono and is supported by our program, Kota. Models of creating entrepreneurship for farmers through our Prisma program, which is operating in a number of provinces, particularly in East Java, then further east. We'll soon move to also Central Java. Programs like at the central level too, providing technical and other academic and intellectual inputs through Prospera program and Kian program. All of these programs now, all of our cooperation program is essentially technical advice. A range of clever people, Indonesians, Australians and other international people who are working with the government of Indonesia to provide masukan teknis, masukan intelektual, to help policymakers develop ideas, to pilot the way things would work, to learn lessons, to take some risks. Some things don't always work, some do, and to develop ideas for building Indonesia's future. I was just recently in East Sumba, in Sumba Timor, looking at programs with our Innovasi programs, this is our program on basic education, looking at how local children who don't speak Bahasa Indonesia in the early years, they speak Bahasa Canberra and other dialect di daerahnya, how to teach them initially using their mother tongue and then to teach them to learn and to learn Bahasa Indonesia. If you don't know Bahasa Indonesia, there's no point trying to teach children who don't understand Bahasa Indonesia how to read if they can't even use their own language to learn the language of Indonesia. So, and that's just one example in many different kabupaten of where the basic problems of learning and teaching and learning need to be addressed. And that program Innovasi is helping with that problem. Similarly, Professor Boediono mentioned the problem of stunting, and we've been working very closely with the government of Indonesia and with the World Bank on the Stratnas stunting. And I think that's a classic example of a problem of governance. It's not necessary, it's not just a health problem, it's not an education problem, it's not an infrastructure problem, it's a combined problem at the local level. We saw during the era of the New Order times that through the Posyandu, which was in each desa or at the kecamatan or sub-kecamatan level, there was a range of midwives and local support, bringing a lot of the elements together, often under the program Keluarga Berencana, which after the New Order was finished got quite a bad name. And then the Posyandu began to decrease in different places. Now some of those learnings of Posyandu were bringing all of that integrated service delivery together. A bit of education, a bit of good health practice, the role of local women, the role of local people in empowering and understanding what is good nutrition for children, what is good nutrition for ibu-ibu yang hamil dan baru ada anaknya. These are some of the learnings that are coming from that too, and that's essentially about the local level. You know, there are good ideas at the top, but they have to be translated into the local level. That is modern Indonesia, and it's, the sad thing is it can't all just be done by fiat from the top. It's got to be done with good ideas at the top, good leadership at the top, good messaging, but then it has to be translated across the whole of the archipelago. And that's very challenging, but that's where through our advice, through our masukan techniques, we are trying to work with Indonesia, and I think that's a good model for now for Indonesia that's now entering upper middle income status, and that's where we'd like to keep working, because the success of Indonesia, the success of this grand national experiment since 1945 is a fundamental national interest to Australia. This country of 266 to be soon a country of 300 million people by 2040 or so is of tremendous importance to us. If this country is a success, that's our success. If this country has real problems, that's our problem too. We're only a country of 25 million, a big continent, but only 25 million to your south. But if this country does not succeed, that's a big problem for us, and we have a very strong interest in your success, and we're determined to work with you to assist in that great objective. Now finally, I'd just like to congratulate both Hal and also Shwage Dharmanagara, who I've met many times at the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies in Singapore, on this new book. This book is the creation of a seminar that was held between the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies and the Indonesia project in Singapore last March. And in terms of some of the challenges in it, it summarises in all of its excellent chapters many of the big issues that are facing Indonesia today with a lot of honesty. You'll find in it the remarks by Professor Boediono have been turned into a paper reflecting many of the comments that he made today, but many others as well on everything from as wide as education and labour markets through to agricultural policy, manufacturing and macroeconomic developments. So this is really the best contemporary book I've found so far on all of Indonesia's economic challenges, and I'd like to commend all of it to you. I was lucky enough to be given a copy the other week, and I haven't read it all, but what I have read of it has very much impressed me and gives a great, I hope that policymakers, business people, politicians, all manner of people here in Indonesia read it very closely for the ideas and insights it provides, policy recommendations it provides. So, akhir kata, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih lagi. Selamat kepada Bapak Hal sama Bapak Shwage atas kecetakan buku ini yang baik sekali. Dan kepada Ibu Cho sama Marcel, terima kasih lagi atas kehormatan yang disampaikan kepada saya untuk berdiri di sini untuk menghormati kehidupan dan kerja Bapak Kian. Kepada Bapak Boediono juga terima kasih atas pidato Bapak yang disampaikan tadi, dan kepada LIPI juga terima kasih atas kesempatan bekerja sama dengan LIPI, dan pada masa depan dari pemerintah Australia kami akan ada harapan besar untuk bekerja sama baik dengan Indonesia, pemerintah Indonesia untuk pembangunan negara ini maupun dengan peneliti-peneliti dari LIPI dan Indonesia Project. Sekali lagi kepada Anda semua, terima kasih.
Kami mohon untuk tetap berkenan berada di depan, karena kita akan mengikuti sesi pemberian cenderamata dan foto bersama. Kami mengundang dengan hormat Bapak Profesor Dr. Boediono, Bapak Alastair Cox, kami mohon untuk berada di depan untuk melakukan sesi foto bersama. Perwakilan Bank Rakyat Indonesia, seluruh pimpinan eselon 2 LIPI, juga para narasumber dan moderator sesi panel, Bapak Profesor Halil, Bapak Dr. Arianto Patunru, Bapak Dr. Agus Eko Nugroho, Bapak Dr. Siwage dan Manegara, juga Ibu Cute. Kami mohon berkenan untuk berada di depan bersama-sama untuk menerima cindera mata foto bersama. Kami mengundang juga Bapak Maxensius Trisambodo, Bapak Profesor Zainal Arifin, Deputi Bidang Ilmu Pengetahuan Kebumian LIPI, Bapak Profesor Chris Manning, dan Ibu Profesor Anne Wood. Kami mohon berkenan untuk bergabung bersama di depan.
Oke, satu.
Pemberian cindera mata nanti setelah sesi foto bersama. Kita masih menunggu Profesor Chris Manning, Bapak Maxensius. Selanjutnya adalah pemberian cindera mata yang akan disampaikan oleh Ibu Dr. Sri Sunardi Purwaningsi. Kepada Bapak Profesor Dr. Boediono, berkenan menyaksikan pemberian cindera mata. Selanjutnya kepada perwakilan Bank Rakyat Indonesia, dan sebuah tanda kasih untuk Ibu Cu. Cindera mata juga diberikan para narasumber di sesi panel yang akan kita saksikan di setelah ini. Kita boleh sekali lagi melakukan sesi foto sebelum kembali ke tempat semula. Baik, sekali lagi kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama. Baik, terima kasih. Kami silakan dengan Bapak untuk kembali ke tempat semula.
Very nice. Who does those for you? You have a woodman. A woodman?
Yes, teman.
A woodman who you know?
Baik, hadirin, sebentar lagi kita akan mengikuti sesi panel dan sesi ini akan dipandu oleh moderator Bapak Dr. Siwakil dan Rumah Negara, Senior Fellow Institute of Southeast Asian Studies, Yusuf Isan Institute. Kepada Bapak Dr. Siwakil, kami silakan.
So I know a bit about the context. No, I know a bit of context.
Selamat sore, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Mungkin saya undang para pembicara kita sore ini, Pak Hao, kemudian Pak Aco, Arianto Patunru, dan Bapak Agus Eko Nugroho untuk duduk di tempat. Ya, kita masih menunggu satu pembicara lagi yang sedang ke kamar kecil. Mungkin kita bisa mulai dulu dengan satu. Oke, Pak Aco. Ya. Memang ruangan ini agak dingin, jadi kita sering keluar masuk ruangan untuk menghangatkan badan. Tadi di dalam sambutan Pak Boediono telah mengatakan bahwa ini merupakan satu event yang sangat penting, event yang tidak hanya kita mengenang Pak Kian, tapi juga kita merayakan hasil prestasi dan kerja beliau, dan juga kita mengingat kembali apa yang beliau telah kerjakan seperti dalam hal sejarah ekonomi, bagaimana kita jangan sampai melupakan apa yang sudah terjadi. Terus terang ini satu kehormatan bagi saya untuk memandu acara diskusi kita sore ini, di mana pada kesempatan ini hadir 3 ekonom yang sangat terkenal, Pak Hawahil, Pak Arianto Patunru, dan Pak Agus Eko Nugroho. So mungkin nanti kita akan dengarkan dari masing-masing pembicara apa saja yang bisa kita pikirkan, gagasan-gagasan yang keluar dari hasil karya para teman-teman juga yang hadir saat ini. Kita berterima kasih karena banyak kontributor dalam buku ini menyempatkan diri untuk hadir di dalam acara Kian dan juga program kita. Mungkin nanti para kontributor juga bisa memberikan masukan apabila ada ide-ide gagasan yang bisa kita sharing bersama. Sebagaimana kita ketahui bahwa Indonesia saat ini berada pada satu periode yang cukup kritikal, di mana tadi dikatakan Indonesia ingin graduate atau lulus dari middle income country menjadi high income economy, dan mungkin tantangannya sangat banyak untuk menjadi negara yang maju. Kita tahu bahwa tidak mudah untuk menjaga konsistensi dalam melanjutkan kebijakan ekonomi dari satu periode ke periode berikutnya. Untuk lebih lanjut, nanti kita akan dengarkan bagaimana para ahli ekonomi kita memberikan semacam gagasan dan juga kira-kira apa yang perlu dipikirkan oleh pemerintah yang akan datang. Mungkin saya akan perkenalkan dulu pembicara kita yang pertama. Mungkin tidak asing lagi bagi kita semua di sini. Beliau Profesor Al-Hil dari ANU. Beliau banyak membimbing para mahasiswa doktor maupun master di ANU, dan salah satu mahasiswa beliau yang sangat mungkin terkenal adalah Dr. Kajian yang juga mantan Menteri Keuangan Indonesia. Pak Hal banyak tidak hanya menulis buku dan mengedit buku, tapi juga banyak membantu berbagai lembaga internasional maupun pemerintah Australia, Indonesia, dan berbagai lembaga-lembaga seperti Bank Dunia maupun Asian Development Bank dalam memberikan masukan bagi kebijakan ekonomi atau kebijakan yang perlu dijalankan oleh pemerintah negara berkembang. Mungkin saya tidak perlu lagi membacakan biodata beliau yang sangat panjang. Jadi saya persilakan Pak Hal untuk mungkin menyampaikan presentasi beliau, mungkin sekitar 30 menit. Silakan Pak Hal.
Selamat siang, selamat sore kepada semua kepada Ibu Sri dari LIPI, selamat sore kepada terima kasih, selamat sore juga. Saya senang sekali ada kesempatan ikut acara ini untuk menghormati Takeaway was a hero. He was a mentor and a friend and a great scholar, so it's a great honour to be able to speak. Maaf ya, saya pakai bahasa kangaroo, bahasa Jawa. It's a great honour for me to be able to speak at this occasion. I want to start by thanking Wage. Wage invited me to this project about a bit over a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, Wage. And thank you very much for inviting me to contribute to the project. I want to also say ingin mengucapkan banyak terima kasih juga kepada semua penulis dalam buku ini. Hari ini ada beberapa penulis yang ikut acara ini. Let me just make sure I identify them correctly. So ada Monica, Hi Monica, yeah, ada Monica. Chris Manning, salah satu mentor saya, Chris Manning. Of course, Pak Acho, another one of my mentors. Pak Arif Ramayandi, yeah, terima kasih. And Pak Wilma, somewhere, Pak Wilma, yeah, hi Pak Wilma. Have I missed anybody? Hi, sorry that you see it. Thank you. Where's Daniel? Daniel, hi, Daniel. Yeah, so various contributors are here as well. I want to thank them very much for their wonderful contributions. I also want to thank the Institute of Southeast Asian Studies. ICS Singapore is really, I think, in a way, the premier research institute for work on Southeast Asia. They're also a very good publisher. In fact, they're also very commercially, memang kita sekali karena buku-buku ada untuk jual. So they're very clever. I want to thank also my dear friend and mentor, Pak Boediono. Terima kasih banyak, Pak Bud. He kindly agreed to open our conference in Singapore last year, and he set us on the right path. So with his opening remarks, and he kindly agreed to have his opening remarks published as a foreword to the book. Some of the remarks that Pak Bud gave us before are in the foreword to the book. So I want to thank you very much. Maaf mengganggu ya, walaupun maaf pensiun, but thank you very much for helping us a lot. And also Alistair Cox, Alistair Harris Purdy, but Dan, can you please record that we're grateful to Alistair for coming along. Daniel Redison, by the way, from the embassy, a good friend. And I want to say special hello to the special family of Kian, Ju, hi, Marcel, hi, and Lillian, I think, yeah, hi, and other family members. I've spent many pleasant evenings at Cempaka Putih Indah. Cempaka Putih Indah, kalau saya tidak salah, 90. Cempaka Putih Indah, 90. That's in the alamat here too. It's still the same address, right? Many pleasant evenings at a special house in Cempaka Putih Indah with the gracious family. So thank you very much. And especially a big thanks to Max. Max is somewhere. Hi Max here, terima kasih banyak. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. And also hello to some of my ada beberapa korban saya di sini. Hello to my korban. Several of them, so thank you very much. So pada waktu Kian bekerja di sini, dia bekerja di sini selama kira-kira 50 tahun, ya. And so saya sering ada kesempatan datang ke gedung LIPI dan gedung lama juga, gedung LIPI lama. And I used to visit quite often atas kebaikan Kian Wei. Now, Kian Wei used to call LIPI sleepy LIPI. But that was used not as a criticism, but he used it affectionately. Because he loved LIPI. He loved LIPI. LIPI was his life. Apart from his family, LIPI was his life. And I think he was using it because he wanted LIPI to be the best it possibly could be. So he was trying to push everyone in LIPI and all the friends around LIPI, including all of us, to urging his colleagues to make the best for LIPI. So he was a real pioneer, I think, in LIPI. Tentu saja dia bisa kemana saja. He could have gone anywhere, but he chose to stay in LIPI. So it's wonderful that that friendship and connection is so precious for all of us. I think it's the reason why we stay as academics, because we have such close colleagues and friends like Kian Wei. So terima kasih banyak. Okay, so selain dari itu, saya ada instruksi bicara sedikit tentang buku ini. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the book, but not much here. But this is the book. You don't have to buy it. It's you just have a look at the book. But I want to say a little bit about the book. And mudah-mudahan ada waktu untuk penulis lain selain dari Taja dan Bagai ada beberapa penulis di sini. And maybe, I hope they'll have time to talk also about their chapters. So I want to try and just bring out briefly a few of the key points from the book. And I want to do it in the form of questions about looking towards Indonesia, because we chose as a title, whatever the title was, economic challenges. So thinking about the present, looking back, but also looking forward. So I want to raise questions as much as giving answers. But just to look back briefly, and it's just helpful, I think, to remind ourselves where Indonesia's come from, because when I move forward, I'm going to ask some reasonably provocative questions. So just to assure you that I understand that Indonesia has been a great development success story, I just want to mention a few things. So first of all, the quote I always start with is, from chronic economic dropout to economic miracle. So I used that for a title in a paper once. The chronic economic dropout comes from Benjamin Higgins' statement about Indonesia in the mid-1960s, when things looked very difficult for the country. And the miracle is from the World Bank's East Asian Miracle in 1993, about 7 East Asian economies, termasuk Indonesia. So maybe now the title of the book should be From Chronic Economic Dropout to Upper Middle Income Economy, since Indonesia has now moved so quickly up into upper middle income countries. On almost any indicators, I think Indonesia historically looks very good. That is, for 30 years there was very rapid economic growth and poverty reduction. Then came the events of 1997, 98, 99, the difficult years of the Krismon, and suddenly Indonesia not only recovered from the crisis, economic growth resumed in around the year 2000, but it made this very sudden transition from authoritarian centralised rule to democratic decentralised rule. A transition that many other countries have found very difficult. Indonesia did that transition very quickly. I remember coming to Indonesia around that period. It was very gloomy. There was this well-known paper about Indonesia called From Showcase State to Basket Case. In fact, I think the author later became a Menteri Keuangan, maybe to start before you would. I think the co-author was Patrizal Ramli, from Showcase State to Basket Case. There was also the Yugoslav scenario, that Indonesia would disintegrate the way the former Republic of Yugoslavia did. So it's important, I think, just to remind ourselves that Indonesia came through that period very quickly and relatively easily. And the same could be said about the 3 key dates of Indonesia's history: 1945, independence, when people had low expectations for the country, and 1965, 66, when the situation was very gloomy. So I think there's a story about that, about Indonesia being able to navigate very difficult circumstances, and that's one of the reasons why it's a member of this very exclusive club, the Growth Commission Club, of the very small number of economies which have grown fast for at least a decade. The definition was at least 7% growth average for at least a year. So only 13 economies got into the club out of 150 economies, and Indonesia is one of them. And that's why if you believe projections of economists, maybe you shouldn't believe projections of economists, but if you do, Indonesia will become the 4th largest economy in the world around 2045, 2050. And so Indonesia, of course already a major regional power, will become a major global power fairly quickly. So that's the past, and that's a very successful story. I want to now focus more on the present and the future, and just throw out some questions. First of all, one striking feature of the ASEAN economies is that the four large economies, Indonesia, Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia, this century have been growing at about the same rate. That is, if you look at the trajectory over the last 20 years, the growth rate is pretty similar. In fact, if you look at Southeast Asia now, the country to watch in terms of economic dynamism, in fact, Patunru mentioned it in your talk, is actually Vietnam. And one way of looking at that is to look at some of Vietnam's indicators. Vietnam's poverty reduction, of course Vietnam, after the end of the Vietnam War and then after a decade of socialist agriculture, was one of the very poorest countries in the world, and now its poverty rate has come down so quickly. It's come down quicker than Indonesia, in fact, which of course has come down also very quickly. So maybe Vietnam is the country which now becomes the sort of the benchmark for economic success in Southeast Asia. That's another way of looking at it. This is drawing on some work, in fact, which came in the book edited by Patunru, looking at the success story among East Asian manufactured exporters, which has been often the driving engine of a lot of East Asian economic success. And what's really striking, this comes from a paper with one of our PhD students, Daisy Pane. What's really striking is how Indonesia, how Vietnam's grown so quickly in its manufactured exports. And we know that manufactured exports is not only an engine of growth in a lot of East Asia, but it's also an engine of poverty reduction, because it's this labour-intensive, export-oriented industrialisation which is drawing people out of low-wage agriculture, the informal sector, into the formal manufacturing sector. This just tells us a little bit about the comparative record, the fact that Vietnam's been so successful. This is in the case of electronics, parts and components and final products. The same also applies in the case of the garment industry, and the same also applies in the case of footwear. So these have been historically the three really big labour-intensive manufactured exports, and you can see that Vietnam is the country which has been the most successful in the last decade or more in Southeast Asia. So going back to the sort of questions currently, I guess I want to pose the question: Indonesia seems to be now on a growth trajectory of about 5% plus or minus. During the Subroto era, it was about 7% per capita. Therefore, Indonesia's gone from about 5% to about 3% growth. And the question is that going to be enough? Is it enough to quickly ascend into more developed country ranks? Is it going to be enough to actually decrease, to overcome poverty quickly? So that's sort of setting the scene. And the question is, can Indonesia return to the faster growth of the Subroto era in a very different political economy environment? And therefore, is there a kind of a political compact between the government and the population to argue the case for higher economic growth and the policies needed to achieve that high growth? So to achieve that high growth is in a sense what our book is trying to address, and the various papers in the book have set out in quite a lot of detail the sort of issues which we think the authors think are important. And so I just want to quickly take you through some of some of the insights from the book from the authors. And these are kind of markers for thinking about it as we think about Jokowi Mark II, the second Jokowi regime. What can we expect? So first of all, in fact, consistent with what Wood said, starting with institutions obviously are crucial. So economists used to say getting prices right is the issue. Now most social scientists say getting institutions right is the issue. The question is what sort of institutions and how do you do it? So Indonesia obviously has constructed the most important institution, which is a credible democratic state with democratic regime change. The question then is, what about economic institutions? How much progress has there been in building durable economic policy institutions which continue beyond one particular regime and which are also independent of the political cycle? So this is things like organisations like the KPK, the KPU, an independent central bank and more, and of course generally the bureaucracy, as again Wood said. Now if you will allow me, I want to quote something rather controversial. This is the controversial quote. It comes from my mentor at ANU, many of you will know, Professor Heinz Zahn. I don't know whether you can read the quote, so let me just quickly read it for you. This is Professor Heinz Zahn speaking or writing in the Bulletin of Indonesian Economic Studies in March 1978. Yaitu 41 tahun yang lalu, March 1978, and Heinz said, "There is hardly an economic policy, whether for levying of income tax or of urban real estate tax, or for tariff protection of domestic industry, or for subsidies to depressed industries, or for minimal regulation of foreign investment or road traffic, so on, so on, so on. Social welfare services of every kind, which, whatever its economic or technical merit, does not now need to be weighed and often ruled out almost wholly on the grounds of its administrative impracticability in the face of corruption. So that was a very gloomy kind of statement from mine. So I remember it very clearly because it kind of caught my attention at the time. So is that statement still relevant to Indonesia today? It was 41 years ago. And I want to just mention another quote, a very recent quote from a person many of you will know, Professor Iwan Jaya Aziz from Cornell University and University of Indonesia. Iwan has written a review of our book, actually. I'm not sure whether I sent it to you. Right, I don't know. So, and Iwan's written, in a way, something perhaps a bit more polite, Secara lebih halus, but also saying something similar. So Iwan says, Chapter 2 of New Developmentalism, that's a chapter in the book by Dr. E. Warburton, essentially confirms that undermining institutions will prevent a country like Indonesia from achieving a desirable and faster-paced growth. Examples abound in Indonesia where the absence of proper institutions makes the effectiveness of any policy more limited. So I think that's the sort of first marker I wanted to draw your attention to, the institutional marker. So it's consistent with the observation of Patunru before about the importance of institution. So I'm throwing out the question, and I don't have the answer, but I'm throwing out the question about institutions. Okay, so that's the first general comment, and that's the chapter by Dr. E. Warburton, one of the contributors. Second chapter is on, another chapter related is on subnational governance, and so this is for Indonesia, so this is Professor Lunter Schulze and Gerard, the student. So the issue here clearly is that autonomy daerah has achieved its original objectives. It's preserved the integrity of the nation state and it's consolidated democracy at the local level. So the question is, 18 years after autonomy daerah, it's already 18 years, what's happened to the quality of local level services? Has the quality of local level services improved? And in fact, Alistair Cox alluded to this in his presentation. I think the jury is still out. A lot of discussion, big literature on what's been happening in local level government. And I think we're still waiting to see the answer, we're not sure. Another related question is, are the principles of local accountability and fiscal federalism now working? That is, for example, is good governance being rewarded at the ballot box by local governments being re-elected? So that's another sort of marker or question I want to throw at you. Now, moving on, again, I'm just trying to summarise them quite quickly, on macroeconomic management. So we have both authors here, Dr. Ari from the Asian Development Bank, and Maggie, of course, the co-author of this paper. So I would argue macroeconomic management has been a success story for Indonesia, both during almost all of the Subroto era, and since the crisis. There's been a remarkable fiscal consolidation, as we know. In fact, a lot of it occurred when Patunru was Menteri Keuangan, and we have a central bank which is independent and professional, highly regarded. So the macro story is clearly a success story for Indonesia, and that's why a few years ago there was a thing called the BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Indonesia wasn't included in the BRICS, but clearly it's done better than the BRICS, better than at least the resource-rich BRICS, the three of them, that is Brazil, Russia and South Africa. And I would argue one of the reasons why it's done better than the so-called successful BRICS is because of its good macroeconomic management. Nevertheless, markers to be mentioned, challenges to be mentioned. Indonesia's tax effort clearly is too low to provide the goods and services that the community expects. And there are major spending commitments in the pipeline, pensions, education, health, which are going to actually put more stress on the budget, so that's clearly going to be an issue to watch. Public sector debt management has been very successful. I think Patunru, when you became Menteri Keuangan, public debt to GDP was almost 100%. Now it's fallen dramatically to around about 30%, and of course, the fiscal law, which was introduced when you were a minister, has set the policy framework, so that's an amazing achievement. So debt is no longer the issue it was, but there's still, I guess, a debt issue if you think of the consolidated broader public sector, that is not just the narrow government, but the state enterprise sector, so the value of it and so on. So that seems to be still an issue. There's also a monetary policy issue which Arif and Patunru did discuss in the book, which is how to manage monetary policy with an open capital account. And for example, should Indonesia target a current account deficit? This is, I mean, conventional economics would say don't worry about the current account deficit. You know, it's the outcome of investment savings decisions, so don't worry about it. It's private, consenting adults kind of argument. But clearly, in the world of sort of international capital market volatility, you have to worry about the current account deficit, and Indonesian policymakers do worry about it in the context of this open capital account. So there's just some of the macro issues which I think are going to be issues we watch. There's also the related question of finance sector development. This is a chapter by Professor Natasha Hamilton from Auckland. And Natasha basically has written a very positive chapter on the state of the financial sector. There are questions, of course, still. Are the new financial safety net arrangements workable? There's quite a bit of discussion, by the way, of this in the latest survey in the Bulletin of Indonesian Economic Studies on this financial safety net stuff. I guess it's still the case that we haven't got regional global architecture working properly. In the sense, my sense is the IMF is still maybe taboo in Indonesia. Question mark. If it's taboo, what's the alternative? Well, the Enhanced Chiang Mai Initiative, CMIM, is supposed to be the alternative or a complement to the IMF. It's never been used, and I don't think it ever will be used. There are bilateral swap arrangements which may be possible, but there's no guarantee, especially with President Trump in the White House. So there are these sort of financial safety net issues both domestically and regionally and internationally. And there's also a finance issue, I think, to do with non-bank financing in the bond market and the capital market. So again, finance is a success story, and these are some of the issues to look at going forward. On the sectors, we have very good chapters on the sectors, one by Professor Arianto on manufacturing, one by salah satu korban saya, Dr. Titiganas on the services sector. So I think the issue here, which is a debate going on in Indonesia forever and in most other countries too, is should governments have non-neutral incentives regimes across sectors? That is, should governments systematically favour one sector over other sectors? Should it favour industry over agriculture or agriculture over services? And so that debate, I think, is persisting and hasn't really been resolved. But it's useful to keep in mind Professor Max Corden's observation that if you protect everybody, you protect nobody. That is, protection all round for all sectors is protection for no sector. So that's an issue which I think is still important. Obviously, the question of why manufacturing growth is about half what it was during the Subroto era is a big question, hence the debate on deindustrialisation in Indonesia. My own view is that I think it can be explained mainly by the domestic policy regime has changed since the Subroto era in a certain way that makes especially export-oriented, labour-intensive, tradable manufacturers less competitive than before. It's partly a real exchange rate story during the recent commodity boom. It's partly also the rise of China having sort of global equilibrium effects in lowering the global price of manufacturers in the segments in which Indonesia competes. Services sector growing very quickly. It's rising, the share is rising very rapidly. As Titik in the chapter points out, there's still quite a lot of policy reform and liberalisation needed for services, including in the labour market, the international labour market, to make services even more competitive. Moving on, so next one is the question of openness and economic nationalism. So I'll skip that since Patunru was the author of that chapter, a very nice chapter. And just to mention also the book which he edited with Dr. Mari Pangestu and Dr. Hadi Basri from Indonesia Update. Highly recommended. It's for sale, which I'm not sure. Is it? Yeah. So that covers all these issues in great detail, so I won't discuss it. It's still the case since Dr. Mukti Suyatman is here, and Mukti wrote a really nice thesis a few years ago saying, is Indonesia missing out on global production networks? And I think the conclusion was, yes, maybe it is, and maybe that conclusion still applies to Mukti. I don't know whether you might like to comment later, but is Indonesia missing out on this really fast-growing part of global trade and manufactures, global production networks? And how can it navigate trade policy in a world that looks like this, the so-called spaghetti bowl, which makes trying to do trade policy so difficult when you've got all these bilaterals and regionals happening everywhere, and trade policy agreements like this. If you're not in them, you're missing out. So how to be in them is the question. Indonesia hasn't got into them very much. The Australian one is one of the few where it has, but it's a question about how to navigate through there. Fortunately, Indonesia is probably one of the best thinkers on these issues, and that's former Trade Minister Dr. So next, infrastructure with Wage and Wilma. So again, I won't discuss this much because I think they will talk a little bit more about it. The question obviously is Indonesia. So Indonesia invested big time during the Subroto era in infrastructure. Great progress on almost every dimension of fiscal infrastructure. Then the crisis hit, and as we know, infrastructure investment for at least more than a decade after the crisis was about half what it was before the crisis as a percent of GDP. So the question is, Jokowi, of course, is infrastructure president, is that are the bottlenecks being removed? And clearly some of them are, but there are still some big issues. But Wage and Wilma might talk about that. So just moving on, as I say, I'm just giving you a few quick ideas on the paper. So poverty, inequality, social policy, so again a big set of issues. And in fact, Professor Anne Booth is going to be focusing on these issues in her forthcoming BIS survey coming out, the next BIS issue. I think that's right, Anne, isn't it? You're going to focus on that. So Anne might want to say something about it. So lots of questions, obviously. This is the chapters by R17 and also John McCarthy, a colleague at ANU. So why has inequality risen significantly? There was a really sharp rise in the Gini. In fact, it began to occur in the mid-1990s, stopped during the crisis, began rising quite quickly. And the question is why? And I've seen lots of discussion of that trend, but not a coherent, integrated explanation of it. And of course, it has come down in the last couple of years. The Gini's fallen about 3 or 4 percentage points. So is it a labour market story, which I'll come to in a minute with Chris Manning and Devanto? Was it a second commodity boom story? Is it a Piketty effect that's occurring everywhere? So questions like that. Also a question about, is the nature of poverty changing? That is, Indonesia has been very successful in reducing poverty over the last 50 years, apart from the crisis. Now, if we're down to hardcore poverty, is it really a matter of not just growth, but growth plus, and what's in the plus? Is it the labour market? Is it particular targeted social assistance, which is very small in Indonesia, but as we heard yesterday from Suharto, it's rising quite quickly. Is the trade regime relevant? Acho had some interesting comments on this, because clearly protecting the rice sector is actually pushing more people into poverty to the extent they've got to pay higher prices for rice than a staple. Also questions about the database. Is that we all rely on the BPS database, Susanas in particular. We know BPS is a highly professional body, but has it got the resources to be able to actually estimate it effectively? And then there's the question with these rising social safety net programs, how well are they working? And the evidence seems to be, especially for the program PKR, that it's working very well, surprisingly well, given how difficult it is to target. But Patswa and colleagues are very confident that they think that their PKR program in particular is going well. But inevitably there are type 1 and type 2 errors, that is, people who are getting the benefits who shouldn't be and people who aren't getting the benefits who should be. So one of the issues too is just that issue, that is Indonesia historically hasn't had a lot of social targeted social programs, partly perhaps because the government didn't have the resources to do it, and partly because when growth was very strong and the labour market was strong and the rice sector was growing very quickly, you could argue that they were the main ingredients, plus education and so on. But when inequality rises and incomes rise, but there's still poverty, this question of tax and transfers becomes important. Clearly, the Latinos have been doing quite a lot of it, and they've been doing it partly because they had to do it because their pre-tax inequality was much higher than Indonesia. So I think that question is going to be on the horizon clearly, whichever government comes into in the future. On education, so related clearly to the poverty story. So this is Daniel's story, and his co-authors from Semeru, a wonderful place called Semeru, by the way. So clearly Indonesia now is spending quite a lot on education because of the mandated 20% budgetary requirement. And so the financial constraints have been significantly removed. I guess the question is, and the question which Daniel in particular has been posing is, how come much more money is going into education, but on most indicators, most output indicators, although imperfectly measured, education quality doesn't yet appear to be improving as much as you might expect, given the extra funding for it. So is it, for example, that teacher quality and incentives need to be reformed in some ways? I think that would be one of Daniel's arguments, I think. Is it the absence of complementary inputs in education like IT and even physical resources? Is it that the PENDers, the local governments who deliver a lot of the education for primary and secondary, they're still working out how to run their local education systems? Is it the examination regimes which need to be modified, made more effective? So I think there's some of the questions which we'll need to watch, and we'll wait for Daniel's article every 6 months to tell us the answer, Daniel, right? Then related to that, on social policy, of course, labour market, and for that Chris and Levanto wrote a very nice paper, as you'd expect. And based also on Chris's presentation yesterday at Commentary Keuangan, the story was kind of feeling worrying, I think, for the first decade of the 21st century, and it's become a bit more positive in the last decade. That is, this phenomenon of jobless growth in manufacturing seems to now have been overcome somewhat, and the services sector growing quite quickly. The minimum wage issue seems to have been addressed with the 2015 laws, so there's some predictability in the system. The severance pay issues seem to be still quite serious. But there is perhaps still a disconnect between the education system and the labour market, which not just an Indonesian problem, but other countries as well. So lots of labour market questions, and the guru is in the room, and maybe the guru will talk, I hope, a bit later. Finally, natural resource management by my colleague Widya and one of his students. It's a question on natural resource management. So if you think about it to begin with, is Indonesia following the so-called Kuznets environmental curve? You know, the famous Harvard economist Kuznets had an inverse U curve for inequality, hypothesizing it would get worse and get better. So that's often been the story in the East Asian environment. That is, countries grow first and they worry about the environment later. So clearly on most indicators, Indonesia's environmental amenities have declined. That is, deforestation, urban air pollution, all these sort of indicators. And maybe that's just the way it's going to be until at some point Indonesia becomes a good deal richer, and then it will clean up. as people used to, Japanese friends reminded me, until about 1960, Tokyo was a really dirty city, and now it's one of the cleanest cities in the world. So maybe Indonesia will do something like that, or maybe it won't. Maybe the problems are becoming so serious, the flooding in Jakarta and deforestation, that maybe you can't wait until you're fairly rich before you clean up. So that's sort of one of the questions being posed in this chapter with reference to the maritime sector and fishing. There are also broader issues. I mean, is climate change, if you believe climate change has now become so serious that you can't wait and it's global, how should Indonesia play a role in playing a role in contributing to to the amelioration of global climate change, especially in forests? And it's still, as a relatively poor country, shouldn't expect richer countries who will be the beneficiaries to actually contribute to that process. It's another question to watch. There's also the question of how to protect the commons, and of course Indonesia has these unusually vast commons. It's the largest archipelagic state in the world, so it has maritime commons and of course forestry commons. So some of those questions are also important. I think on that note, I better stop just to say, banyak terima kasih sekali lagi kepada LIPI. Banyak terima kasih kepada para penulis dan Pak Max for inviting me, and a special reminder of that wonderful man, Dr. Kian. Terima kasih banyak.
Thank you very much, Pak Al. I think Pak Al has just shared with us the summary, the key points, and also key questions that we put in the book. So I guess that we don't have enough time for each of the book contributor to give a presentation. So maybe if there's a specific question with regard to specific issues, later we can ask our book contributor to help answering this specific question. So let's move on to the second speaker. Our second speaker is Dr. Arianto Patunru. I call him Pacho, and he's fellow in the Art Gordon Department of Economics, Crawford School, AMU College of Asia and the Pacific. He's also coordinator for policy engagement, the AMU Indonesia project. His main research interests are on trade, investment, environment and development issues with special focus on Indonesia. He joined the Art Gordon Department of Economics in October 2012. Previously, Dr. Patunru was the head of Institute for Economic and Social Research, Department of Economics, University of Indonesia, or LIPI. Dr. Patunru has published a great number of academic papers in various international journals, such as the Journal of Development Studies, American Journal of Agricultural Economics, Contemporary Economic Policy, Asian Economic Journal, and Journal of Southeast Asian Economies. And he's also the co-editor of Bulletin Indonesian Economic Studies of AMU. And he holds his PhD from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. So I'll hand the floor to Pak Cho.
Terima kasih banyak Pak Wage. Sebenarnya saya agak risih Pak Wage karena saya hanya salah satu penulis chapter, sementara di sini ada banyak penulis-penulis yang lain, mulai dari Daniel, Arif, Devanto, Wilmar, kemudian ada Pak Kris, Monica, dan tentu saja Pak Wage dan Pak Al sendiri. Terima kasih sekali lagi kepada Pak Wage dan juga kawan saya Pak Max atas undangannya untuk berkontribusi dalam acara ini. Juga saya ingin memulai dengan mengenang Pak Kian. Saya mulai I started reading Pak Te's work actually since I was in high school, but at that time I read his works from majalah Prisma and Kompas mainly. FEUI. We use some of his works for mata kuliah perekonomian Indonesia dan sejarah ekonomi Indonesia. But I actually met Pak Teh first time only when I was back from Illinois in 2004-2005 in a conference in Jakarta, and that's when the first time I met Pak Teh. And then after that we had a lot of collaborations, and one thing led to another. Suddenly Pak Teh and I became the editors for LPM journal that was EKI, Ekonomi dan Keuangan Indonesia, that was transformed into EFI, Economics and Finance in Indonesia, one of the oldest journals in Indonesia, actually older than EIS, with lots of very good papers, including paper dari Pak Boediono. Saya ingat papernya Bapak di BS yang lama tentang model perekonomian Indonesia, modelnya namanya model LIPI. There was my interaction with Pak Teh. I consider Pak Teh as a very good friend, always give sound advice. And when I finished as a director of LPM 2009-2010, Pak Teh asked me, when we had editors meeting every month for EKI, and then one of those meetings, he asked me, so what are you going to do, Acho, after this LPM thing? And I told him that I really wanted to go somewhere to do serious research. And abruptly he said that you have to go out, and the best place to go now is Canberra. So with his letter of recommendation, along with Ibu Maria, a letter from Kati Basri, I joined ANU. I feel thankful to Pak Teh now. And then one day in mid to late 2013, we had a secret meeting in Homs. Me, Pak Budi Reso Sudarmo, and Chandra, Prema Chandra Atukorala, with an idea to edit a book for Hal Hill as a what we call festival in Indonesia, bunga rampai, buku bunga rampai buat Hal Hill. So the first person that we contacted to contribute to the book is, of course, Pak Teh, the best friend of Pak Hal, and he immediately agreed. He wanted to write a chapter, and not surprisingly, he shared this good news to Ibu Chu. But then, unfortunately, he passed away in February, and I still remember Ibu Chu very frustrated trying to find the paper by Pak Teh for the book that I was editing with Chandra and Budi for Hal. And finally, sometime in March 2014, Ibu Chu contacted me. She said that we could not find it. Now Ibu Chu realized that it's all just in his mind. It's not on the paper yet. So we don't have the chapter in that book, unfortunately. But he shared all what he wanted to write for Hal and with Ibu Chu. So that's Pak Teh. So let me very quickly, I'm not going to take half an hour working. So just the summary of the chapter that I wrote in that book. The first point is that yes, globalization might have been having some hiccups recently, but if you look at the long-term trend, it's still on the rising path. So that one now famously used to argue that actually globalization, despite all this inward looking recently, in the long term, it's still rising upward in terms of finance, in terms of financial flow, in terms of goods and services, and also in terms of migration. But for Indonesia, it's been up and down, and basically if you draw a long-term line, it's actually now it's going a bit decreasing. We've been quite open since the 80s until the lead up to the financial crisis. Of course, this very high spike also reflects some kind of measurement issue, because this is a real openness, that means export and import divided by the GDP. So there's a spike there also influenced by the weakening of rupiah. But when we compare to other countries, you can see that actually relatively close compared to other countries, even though in the 80s to 90s we actually more open than any of these countries. But since yesterday we talked about Vietnam, and also in here you can see that Vietnam is actually more open than most of other countries in the region, including Indonesia. I will just skip this, but this is just to show you this. Despite these differences, our terms of trade are actually converging with other countries in the region. But in terms of real exchange rate, just recently, it's consistently on the trend of declining. Now, because of the recent weakening of rupiah, many people try to connect that with the current account deficit, and some blame the current account deficit for the weakening of rupiah. But as you can see, it's not that simple. Actually, it's a bit more complicated than just current account deficit and rupiah depreciations are related, because yes, to some extent you can see that the weakening of rupiah follows current account deficit, but it breaks elsewhere. So it's not a very convincing argument as well. But the same argument used to be used as justification for anti-import sentiment. Despite that, actually, if you look at the composition of our import of final goods is only 10%. So 90% are for raw materials and capital goods. And then if you break the raw materials and capital goods, you can also see that actually the biggest chunk of import is for industrial purpose. So what this means, we need import in order to produce, in order for domestic production. But in terms of protection, of course, we understand that just like in other countries, the tariffs have gone down in Indonesia quite substantially, but then protection takes the form of non-tariff barriers, right? So this, I took this from Global Trade Alerts. You can see that the red bars are the restrictive measures, the green bars are the liberalizing measures, and you can see not just in Indonesia but also in other countries, the restrictive ones dominate the liberalizing ones. But in terms of Indonesia, basically Indonesia have been using non-tariff barriers a lot more compared to other countries. I believe this is by early 2018 before the book Naik. And these are the sectors that are most affected by this protectionism. You can see in the lower part that actually we, in addition to protecting the part for industry, we mostly protect food and food products and meat. Okay. So this is also related to other very widely discussed protectionism in the form of or related to food self-sufficiency atau swasembada pangan that I will show as an example later on. So these are just some list of recent protectionism or recent regulation, laws or regulations that are usually used as a basis or justification for protectionist policies that government are holding on to. So in terms of non-tariff measures, for example, we used to employ license and permit requirements and all the way into export ban. now the protectionism under Jokowi. To Jokowi's credit, actually, many of these regulations are started even before Jokowi took office. But if you look at the term, the first, so Jokowi Mark I, you can see. Well, we cannot see it very clearly because one of the features that I discussed in the chapter actually is that Jokowi's approach to this policy is usually is ambivalent, but also pragmatic and informal. So it's not very strongly. You cannot strongly identify this as protectionist because at some point suddenly he became pragmatic and then take this. For example, later I will show about I will discuss about the fuel subsidy removal in January 2015. But also I discussed in the chapter how the race to the nationalistic tones during the campaign is probably influenced the way he thinks about approaching this this policy, and also not to mention the party lineage. But PDIP is we know the party of home chilling, so it's probably close to the sentiment of protecting the populist approach to development, and maybe related to the chapter of the the chapter in the book. And also the third point is that sometimes we can sort of feel that there is a good luck, like in the case of when he removed the fuel subsidy, but not only good luck actually, but also smart move. So I will give an illustration to make this point. And also, but at the same time, on the flip side of it, sometimes he missed opportunities to make things, like long-term reform. And then when it comes back, it's really hard to disentangle these protectionist, return to protectionist measures. That's the first point. But the threat and promises of we know that this is just a repeat of 2014 when Prabowo and Jokowi in the campaign, as they keep promising about these measures. Unfortunately, when he got elected, he actually delivered these promises. Some of these, I will show some examples of it. And also sometimes we see conflicting message in the media. I'm not going to read this, but sometimes even within 1 week, you can see a statement like, inviting investment, very friendly, but then 3 or 4 days later, also in the public said that we need to change all this global order because it's not good for the developing countries. So there is a conflicting message. But I argue also in the paper, it's probably not protectionist alone, but also some pragmatism at play. So just to case studies, a very quick illustration, very quickly. This is rice, my favorite example. So you can see the blue line here is the price, domestic price of rice, and the 2 lines below here is the world price. I just use the Thailand price as the representation of the market price, the world market price, and you can see that domestic price has gone very far, leaving the world price behind. And this in 2012, I think the deviation is around 65%. And one of the studies, some studies, including one study by the World Bank, said that this, price deviation was responsible for 2/3 of the increase of poverty incidents during that time. And if I remember correctly, in June 2016, there was this big debate in the country about, adjusting what they call harga dasar gabah, because it's already very high domestic price. So why not, reduce this? But even if it reduced to this line, you can see that the deviation, the price to wage is still very, very big. Right? And the best opportunity point is that, in 2007, 2008, 2009, there was a big crisis in the price of rice worldwide. Right? When the rice price, global rice price skyrocketed, and I think that was actually an opportunity for pemerintah, for the government to somehow reform the pricing policy in the domestically, maybe some kind of a ban of price that is automatically linked to the oil price, but they did not do that, so it's a missed opportunity here. So when the price calmed down again, the world price, unfortunately, we were back to business as usual. In fact, it skyrocketed since then when the world crisis was over. So that's unfortunate. So the second example is on the fuel price. Of course, we still remember all this applause to Jokowi when he finally removed the fuel subsidy. There was a good, many economists applaud that. But I would also, well, I argue in the paper that was also thanks to good luck and smart, move. So this is when Pak Jokowi was inaugurated October 2014. Just 1 month after that, he actually increased the price of benzene, right? The BBM from 6.500 to 8.500. And that was possible because at the same time, the world price is falling down steeply from $100 to $75. So no resistance, easy. So he did that 2,000 rupiah to 2,000 rupiah increase. And then in January 2015, 4 or 5 months afterward, he removed the subsidy. Usually when he removed the subsidy, the effect is that the price increased. That's not the case when Pak Jokowi removed the subsidy. In fact, the price went down. So from 8.500, because he already increased it in November, in January he removed the subsidy, it's actually decreased to some 7,000 something, but still above the previous one, 6.500, right? And then there is some up and down a bit here, but then after April 2016, it was set at 6,700, if I'm not mistaken, and it stays until we produce this book. Why I mentioned that? Because the first time when they removed the subsidy, it was promised that every month, and then later on they said every 3 months, we will review the price again, right? But then it stopped here, and then it's not happening. And this is the second missed opportunities that I mentioned in the book. Why? Because when the world price keeps falling down, I think that's an opportunity to make some reform whereby the domestic price for some formula is linked automatically to the world price, so you don't need to worry again whenever they go widely up and down. Now we are in this trend again. Well, world price is increasing. I think this morning it's 70 something again, but we're stuck here. That's a missed opportunity. And just to make an illustration stronger, I just plot this gray line here of one country that is following world market very closely, meaning there's no regulation like restricting the price, and then this is Australia, and you can see it's very closely following the world price. So that's just the two illustration that I use in the chapter. So very quickly, why is protectionism emerging? There's discussion in the chapter, but my argument is that, of course, when so many countries in the world are doing this, probably there is this demonstration effect, and if we don't do it, maybe the other countries doing it, and we are the one yang celaka sendiri or something like that. This mindset. But also it's because realistically speaking, actually our competitiveness is also dropping. So this is also why the call for protectionism is sometimes is easy to attend to. And then Ausonian payoff, political scientists will call this Ausonian payoff, whereby the smaller group, because they are smaller, they're easy to organize, and then they can voice out their concern, and they're the one who get hurt by the government, not the. In the case of rice, for example, 80% of Indonesian populations are actually net consumer of rice, where we would think that their interest is lower price of rice, but despite that fact, actually we've seen this policy that leads to increase of domestic rice price. Right? But then there are reasons for optimism. We have seen some signs. For example, many verifications are no longer required, even for rice now, wood, oil, and etc. There is no need now for other ministries' recommendations in terms of these products. And then multiple documents are now streamlined, so I think these are good news. And just recently, the government also introduced or starting the effort to improve the record of quantity for rice using satellite and everything. So we believe this will reduce all this controversy and debate over rice quantity and the political economy around it. So what we expect, we might see economic nationalism to further increase, unfortunately, mostly because of this bandwagon effect, but also because of the world is going inward, and also some other domestic reasons that I mentioned in the beginning. But we probably also, it is possible that this is, I borrow from Pak Chris Manning's word, it's possible that Jokowi's pragmatism overrides his nationalism. So with that, I stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pak Chok. It's a very insightful, fascinating presentation as always. And yeah, I think after the two presentations, we can feel that the temperature is a bit going up now. So we feel a bit warm. So yeah. And now we have the last speaker, but of course not the least. And our third speaker is Dr. Agus Ekonugroho. He is the head of Economic Research Center of LIPI. His research interest is in the areas of banking, microfinance, social capital, poverty, and political economy. He earned his PhD from the School of Economics and Finance from Curtin University of Technology, Australia. He has published several books on microfinance, including Microfinance Development in Indonesia, published by Lambert in 2011. And Dr. Agus will present the topic on the problems and challenges facing financial inclusion in Indonesia. So, Mas Agus, first.
Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Saya kira itu kehormatan bagi saya bisa ikut merayakan TKM yang keempat ini. Tentunya kehormatan bagi saya bisa salah satu orang yang memperkenalkan dan mendidik kami di K2 LIPI terkait dengan ilmu ekonomi, dan ini saya kira satu kehormatan bagi kami. Mungkin agak sedikit berbeda kalau dulu teman-teman muda itu, saya masuk di LIPI 9495. Kemudian kalau Pak T kita minta buat basis, biasanya dia akan merepresent untuk studi di NU, Nationalism University. Ini yang saya dapat rekomendasi Pak T untuk studi di S2 di New Zealand. Itu kalau tidak salah, atas salah satu kolega Pak T yang ada di sana. Dan kemudian untuk di S3 kami juga rekomendasi nanti ke NU, tapi agak sedikit beda, pengen suasana beda itu. Saya memilih di Australia Barat. Menarik sekali, saya kira kehormatan bagi saya juga untuk bisa mereview sedikit apa yang ada di buku ini. Pertama kali yang saya coba lihat adalah kata kunci inklusif. Saya Saya coba cari-cari di indeksnya nggak ketemu. Apa ini tidak cukup menarik pada konteks di finansial sistem. Yang pandangan kami bahwa salah satu kritik yang di finansial dari buku ini kan mungkin adalah bahwa financial system masih dibaca pada tataran bagaimana mendorong produktivitas dan efisiensi dari perbankan kita. Dan itu saya kira mungkin tantangan yang memang sudah dibangun oleh banking system itu sejak belajar dari krisis 2000 saya kira. Dan tantangan berikutnya adalah tentunya bagaimana mendorong inklusivitas itu. Dan ini memang sudah menjadi agenda pemerintahan baik Pak Jokowi maupun sebelumnya. Dan itu saya kira menarik sekali, salah satu inovasi yang mencoba mendorong bagaimana peran sektor dalam mendorong kegiatan ekonomi utamanya di small scale economics, small economic enterprise. Mungkin presentasi saya akan berkaitan dengan tantangan ilustrasi keuangan di Indonesia. Pertama yang saya kira yang menarik adalah kita mulai dari mapping, dan saya sepakat sekali dengan saran dari Pak T, bagaimana kita coba lihat flashback ke sejarah dulu, sebenarnya bagaimana singkat dari finansial sistem kita. Sebenarnya kalau kita lihat dari textbook yang dan beberapa literatur yang ada, sebenarnya banking sektor kita itu tidak atau baru saja mengalami atau memiliki masa pembaruan yang relatif pendek sebenarnya. Kalau kita amati, sebenarnya itu berangkat dari mungkin semua orang juga sudah tahu bahwa tahun 80-an itulah era bagaimana kita mendorong perbankan kita, transformasi dari mungkin dari kebijakan representatif menuju pada liberalisasi finansial sistem dengan Pak Jan, Pak To, Pak Mei dan lain sebagainya, yang kemudian mengarah pada penguatan proses liberalisasi dan deregulasi si finansial sektor. Dan itu kemudian sampai berkembang belajar di Indonesia akan berada pada proses katakanlah misalnya bagaimana finansial sektor kita atau banking sektor kita menjadi sangat dominan dalam finansial sistem kita. Dan itu secara panjang itu dikupas di buku ini, bagaimana struktur finansial sistem kita. Tapi yang menarik bagi kita adalah sebenarnya kalau kita baca tesisnya Profesor Subroto, maka sebenarnya basis perbankan kita itu ada dua ini adalah mungkin bisa dikoreksi saya kalau salah, adalah bank rakyat dan bank lumbung desa. Dan bagaimana itu kemudian ditransformasi bank rakyat dan kemudian pada perkembangannya proses itu bank rakyat menjadi sangat dominan dibanding dengan bank lumbung desa, yang kemudian dia mengalami katakanlah pada era krisis itu mengalami terus pengurangan dan perpindahan aset dari bank lumbung desa menjadi bank rakyat, dan itu ditransform menjadi perbankan katakanlah bank rakyat Indonesia. Tapi kalau kita amati dari bagaimana jarak sebenarnya UMKM kita dengan perbankan itu sangat jauh sekali. Saya kira yang utama dari UMKM kita itu sebenarnya sampai sekarang dari survei kita, kebetulan di Pusat Penelitian Ekonomi kita melakukan studi di perbankan microfinance itu cukup panjang dari 2008 sampai sekarang. Dan hasil survei itu menunjukkan bahwa UMKM, terutama mikro scale itu sebenarnya tidak terlalu dekat dengan perbankan. Mereka sangat dengan kita sebut sebagai alternative financing, mencakup misalnya adalah koperasi, pegadaian, termasuk dalamnya adalah mitra bisnis rentenir dan sebagainya, dan dia sangat jauh sekali. Dan bagaimana itu bisa kita lihat di mapping berikutnya. Kalau kita lihat di sini, maka kelihatan sekali bahwa bagaimana dominasi sektor perbankan ini, di mana sampai kebijakan awal mensyaratkan 20% itu sampai sekarang belum terpenuhi. Di bagaimana 20% kredit skala kecil itu bisa kita disalurkan oleh perbankan nasional. Karena itu mapping yang terbalik adalah saya kira 88% dari kredit perbankan itu mengerucut pada 1% usaha besar menengah, dan 20% direbutkan oleh saudara-saudara usaha kita. Jadi ini dari sensus ekonomi 2016 juga masih terbukti dengan data demikian. Karena itu problema yang ada di sektor finansial kita kira-kira dan bagaimana dan kenapa dan bagaimana indikasi dari surplus saving yang ada di masyarakat itu mengaruh kepada perbankan. Dan kemudian problema adalah arus dana ke lembaga keuangan mikro itu mungkin sangat terbatas sekali, sehingga ada dua kemungkinan di sini di mana sektor perbankan akan selalu mengalami surplus saving, sementara di lembaga keuangan bank mikro mengalami liquidity shortage. Dan ini yang kemudian akan tercermin pada katakanlah misalnya dalam survei inklusi keuangan, maka walaupun masyarakat itu memahami atau mengetahui dan mengutilisasi banking sektor, utamanya pada sektor untuk kegiatan menabung, dan hanya sebagian kecil yang memanfaatkan pada kredit. Ini kelihatan sekali dari artinya apa? Artinya bahwa mungkin tantangan inklusivitas keuangan nasional adalah bagaimana memberikan atau meningkatkan akses kredit kepada usaha mikro kecil dan masyarakat kelas menengah bawah atau kelas bawah. Karena itu bagaimana dari konseptualisasi dari fakta ini, sebelum kita masuk ke sana, saya kira mungkin perlu kami jelaskan juga bahwa salah satu kontroversi yang ada di kebijakan mikrokredit kita adalah pada saat tren bahwa kredit program utama nasional yaitu kredit usaha rakyat dan beberapa yang menyusul itu cenderung menggunakan subsidi bunga yang menurut pandangan kami justru memberikan dampak negatif pada distorsi pasar yang menyebabkan tidak fairan dalam persaingan sistem perbankan atau sistem keuangan khususnya di kredit pasar kredit mikro. Dan ini saya kira dengan sedikit ilustrasi bagaimana proses distorsi pasar bisa terjadi, saya kira karena penurunan tingkat bunga kredit yang sangat, subsidi bunga yang sangat berbeda sangat besar sekali. Dari survei kami misalnya, saya kira tingkat bunga ini sangat beragam sekali. Tingkat bunga terendah saat ini adalah mungkin kredit program mekar misalnya, kredit program baik yang dikelola oleh LPDB kita, ya, lembaga dana bergulir untuk koperasi itu 3-6%. Kemudian yang agak baru ultra mikro itu 3-6 juga, dan kur itu kur mikro berada pada 7%. Sementara tingkat bunga pasar itu 11-13%. Dan ini akan lebih besar lagi kalau kita lihat di koperasi ataupun di lembaga keuangan mikro lain. Dari situlah kami melihat ada dampak distortif dari program kredit mikro saat ini yang berbasis subsidi bunga yang tentunya memperparah dari atau justru membatasi dari pengembangan lembaga keuangan mikro di Indonesia. Dan ini akan sangat kelihatan sekali pada saat sejak kita mencanangkan linkage program antara perbankan dengan lembaga keuangan untuk penyaluran kur itu tidak banyak terjadi. Kalau kita lihat di lembaga keuangan mikro lebih detail lagi, bisa kita kelompokkan pada 3 problema penting sebenarnya. Yang pertama berkaitan dengan sumber daya manusia, jadi problema informality yang mengarah pada rendahnya profesionalisme, rekrutmen dan jenjang karir dan sistem dan pola promosi yang kurang mendukung pada penguatan produktivitas, minimnya training pengetahuan ICT, dan juga pada terbatasnya bagaimana mengembangkan strategi bisnis. Berkaitan dengan tata kelola, saya kira mungkin salah satunya adalah minimnya atau rendahnya mungkin kualitas supervisi dan regulasi yang ada di LKM. Kalau kita lihat misalnya di prakteknya, misalnya koperasi itu diatur oleh Kementerian Koperasi dan UKM, tapi pada saat di lapangan maka itu akan dibina oleh dinas. Sementara mobilitas sumber daya di dinas itu sangat besar sekali, sehingga bagaimana mereka melakukan supervisi dan pengawasan terhadap atau pengembangan pada LKM, utamanya koperasi, tidak banyak terjadi. Berikutnya berkaitan dengan infrastruktur, kita lihat ada 2 masalah penting, yaitu pertama adalah rendahnya investasi di ICT, sehingga pemahaman terhadap atau bagaimana mensinkronkan LKM dengan sistem perbankan itu masih sangat jauh sekali. Karena itu dia berimbas pada intinya keterbatasan pada pelayanan dan jejaring bisnis. Nah, dari kerangka ini saya kira mungkin bisa kita simpulkan atau kita konsepkan bahwa kalau misalnya bagaimana struktur saving itu terdistribusi pada katakanlah misalnya ke banking sektor, dan kemudian yang di sebelah bawah adalah di sektor microfinance misalnya, maka mapping ini akan kelihatan sekali bahwa kita berada pada titik di mana antara X ini dengan A, di mana kemungkinan akan terjadi eksklusif financial system, sehingga antara A dan B ini secara hipotetis bisa dikatakan sebagai berada pada inklusif financial system, atau yang kalau kita distribusikan sumber saving ke microfinance sebagian besar, maka terjadi adalah mungkin jadi inefisien, inklusif tapi tidak efisien. Karena itu pekerjaan kita adalah bagaimana mendorong sumber saving itu bisa bergerak pada area di mana lebih imbang antara sumber saving yang disebutkan kepada banking sektor dan sumber saving di kepada microfinance. Dan ini kalau kita lihat maka dari setelah maka sumber likuiditas dari LKM akan bisa terjadi, apakah nanti bisa menggunakan katakanlah pola liquid dan sebagainya bisa terjadi. Kalau kita lihat dari sisi kacamata kredit, maka kalau kita asumsikan kredit distribusi pada korporasi dan small scale ekonomi, maka akan terjadi pola yang sama. Karena itu bagaimana pekerjaan kita bagaimana menggeser penyaluran kredit ini pada distribusi pada SME yang lebih besar. Dan sudah maka kira-kira ada beberapa langkah yang harus kita pikirkan. Yang pertama, saya kira yang terpenting adalah bagaimana kita bagaimana mendorong pengembangan dari penguatan dari lembaga keuangan mikro dan koperasi dalam memobilisasi sumber saya. Ini tantangannya. Saya kira ada beberapa yang harus mungkin bisa menjadi alternatif. Yang pertama adalah bagaimana kita mampu memperbaiki regulasi dan penguatan supervisi yang ada di LKM, koperasi dan lain sebagainya, dan kemudian penguatan pada sumber daya manusia, infrastruktur, manajemen UKM, dan bisa sangat mungkin misalnya walaupun ini masih sangat perlu dikaji lebih mendalam bagaimana memungkinkan pembentukan lembaga penjamin simpanan atau pemeringkat dari LKM atau koperasi. Dan saya kira beberapa salah satu di antaranya tentunya pentingnya melakukan sinergi antara katakanlah lembaga pengawas, OJK, LIPI, dan Kementerian KUKM, pembentukan lembaga pengawasan yang mencakup unsur independen. Saya kira menjadi salah satu penting untuk mendorong penguatan dari LKM, koperasi dan sebagainya. Penguatan SDM jadi salah satu yang sangat penting. Pentingnya investasi pemerintah dan Pemda untuk perbaikan manajerial dari dan atau standar prosedur koperasi yang baik, dan juga informasi teknologi bagi LKM, perbaikan kualitas sarpas termasuk training, sertifikasi profesi pengelola LKM. Saya kira sangat penting sekali bahwa kita bisa memiliki database yang lebih baik dari lembaga keuangan mikro kita. Jadi indikator yang ada misalnya koperasi hanya tergolong pada yang sehat dan tidak sehat, sementara sehat hanya diukur dari rutinitas melakukan RAT, itu sangat sulit bagi lembaga perbankan untuk mengetahui kredibilitas dari perbankan. Mungkin juga revitalisasi kelembagaan koperasi, dan juga bisa jadi adalah memberikan ketentuan bagi lembaga penjamin simpanan untuk membantu atau menjamin saving yang ada di koperasi. Karena hasil temuan kami pun tidak ada beberapa koperasi yang sangat signifikan sekali. Di Jawa Timur ada beberapa koperasi dengan nilai yang sangat besar sekali dengan akumulasi aset yang bisa mencapai 5 sampai 7 triliun. Yang kedua adalah penguatan keterkaitan operasional antara perbankan dan LKM. Saya kira ini tantangan sangat besar. Yang tentunya ada beberapa yang bisa kita lakukan, misalnya harmonisasi tata kelola yang ada tidak harus sama, tapi bagaimana kita bisa mensinkronkan antara pengelolaan lembaga keuangan mikro koperasi dengan sistem perbankan, perbaikan kualitas SDM, dan juga penguatan peran lembaga penjaminan. Yang ketiga, saya kira yang terpenting adalah minimalisasi dampak distorsi dari program kredit mikro. Mungkin kalau dari pandangan kami, misalnya katakanlah kebijakan kur itu justru lebih pas di dalam kebijakan sebelum tahun 2016 daripada setelahnya, di mana sekarang ini cenderung berbasis subsidi bunga yang mendistorsi pasar dan cenderung memiliki dampak yang mendesak keluar dari lembaga keuangan mikro kita. Dan itu kita beberapa buktikan di lapangan, beberapa bank yang kita wawancara, misalnya di BPR itu jumlah nasabah itu bisa tergerus dari tahun ke tahun. Yang kita temui di Bank PMK Jawa Timur itu bisa tergerus setiap tahunnya bisa 100 nasabah kecil. Bahkan dari 1.700 itu bisa menjadi sekitar 1.200-an. Walaupun portfolio kreditnya meningkat, tapi dari dalam microfinance biasanya jumlah nasabah itu lebih penting daripada value